My name is Miss Julie. Um, this is actually my first time presenting this program, but I do have a lot of experience with kids. I was an English teacher, a college professor, and when I moved to Delaware, I said, okay, I don't want to do any more teaching or anything like that. I'll do, little volunteer work until I heard about power over predators. And I realized how important it is, the message it is. And so here I am. Okay, let's begin. Well, I got to get back a little bit. I need longer legs or longer cords. Okay. Yeah, that'll help. What's happening?
Sorry, David.
Thank you. So welcome to Power Over Predators. Miss Sharon has done a great job introducing you to everything, and let's continue. I'm going to give you some statistics, and I'm also going to, with this information, show you how you can become a hero to yourself and a hero to others. Because, I didn't bring my paper for the questions. Thank you. And before we start, I just want to find, because I guess this is my English teacher background. I have 3 vocabulary questions for you. Okay. Who knows the meaning of the word toxic? I see some recognition back there. What do you think toxic means? Does it sound like a good thing? Okay. Then what is it? Yes. Yep. That's what we're going to get into with the relationships. Yeah, it's not you know that it's not a good thing, so you know it's a bad thing. All right. How about manipulation? Oh, I've got fuzzy things flying at me. Yes.
Like when a person
Think of an example.
I can't really describe it without using it. They kind of like take advantage of you and kind of get you in a trap.
Well, if you rationalize, if something is rational to you, if you rationalize, can you think of an example? Okay, so that's a term that you're going to need to know. If you're rationalizing, you're coming up with your own thinking. You're figuring it out by rationalizing. And sometimes those rationalizations are not true. And excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. And the last one is manipulation. Oh, I said manipulation. Here we go. Oh, okay. I don't have my notes with me, so all right. Manipulation, rationalization is, well, I told you. You try to figure out, you're talking your way through it. All right, so those are three terms that are going to be important tonight. Now, some of these statistics might be, I know for me, they were just a little bit surprising because I have had a lot of experience with kids, but among high school students in 2017 alone, 825,000 boys and 1.4 million girls made a suicide plan. Now that's pretty astonishing. 7,600 of them died by suicide. So you can see that this is a very, very important presentation. Leading deaths of for 10 to 25-year-olds, suicide is the second leading cause of death. Okay. All right, let's look at the importance of relationships. Think about the characteristics of safe and supportive relationships. And think in your mind, which ones have you experienced? And on your worksheet, please check the boxes of the characteristics that you've experienced in your relationships. All right, we went all through that, except I forgot humiliation. What does it mean to be humiliated? Have you ever been humiliated? Yeah. So what does it mean? Good. Somebody makes you feel really bad. Everybody's experienced that. All right, and I know that you know what a hero is. And again, I'm going to reiterate, this can make you a hero to yourself and to someone else in your life. Okay, these are the things we want to do. We want to identify the warning signs of suicide. Now think, you have many friends, you have people you know about, and knowing the warning signs can truly help someone save their lives. Be aware of behaviors that increase the threat of suicide. Like if you're observing somebody, if you know somebody and all of a sudden they're doing something very different or strange, then you'll say, oh, that clicked. As well as decision-making skills to help you make someone else. Sometimes, like with young people, you know what the situation is, but you can't figure out how to get out of it or what to do. So this presentation will help you with that. To recognize a toxic relationship and learn practical skills to get in or out of it. It's really strange. I told you I have a cold, so I went to the doctor yesterday, and we're friends, and she was talking. And she was talking about her daughter. Her daughter who met somebody online who lives in Miami. And she said, I'm not really sure about, where this is going. And I said, well, what are some of the things you're uncomfortable with? And she told me, and I said, it's toxic. This is the definition of a toxic relationship. And you have to believe that you are priceless. Because if you believe in yourself, then you'll be able to stand up to a lot of the pressures that you'll face. Pardon me? Are you going to do those?
Okay, on, if you flip over to your second page, you already did that page, okay, your organization obviously is Hickory. Today's date, don't leave your name, you already did that first exercise, but if you flip over to that second page, those are your pre-assessment questions, your pre-questions that we've done every week. Here's the thing, guys, some of you, for sure, more than some of you, have been waiting till the end to go back and fill out the pre-questions. The reason I know that is because you get all the pre-questions right, and that's not possible for that many people to get that many pre-questions right. So, that doesn't help us when you do that, because what we need, why we do this is because if you don't know the answers to the questions at first, and then you know them at the end, that proves to, the people that fund us that we're doing our job, okay? So don't wait till the end, do me a favor right now, just go ahead and fill out those 3 questions, I think Julie already gave you actually one of them. And
You're welcome.
inadvertently. So you should at least get one of those right. But anyway, if you don't get them right,
This is
that's
not
not a big
working.
deal, but I do need you to fill them out, and don't go back and scratch them out at the end. Leave those alone, and then fill the post questions out later, okay, after you already know the answer. So I'm coming around to make sure that you've answered your 3 questions, okay?
Yeah, well, my mouse isn't working here. It's not responding. Yeah. Well, I got to finish these. Okay.
Unless it has all of the above or pick 2, only pick 1 answer, okay? All right, I think you're about ready.
They're about ready. Open them. All right. All right. I don't know why my mouse is not responding here. Let's see. All right. I can't get to that part. But the other part that we're going to talk about is bullying. What it looks like, what you can do to prevent it, how you can help other people, and really how you can help yourself. Is this slipping all over the place?
Yeah, just smell
I
like.
think you're removing it when your hand was up.
Oh, okay. Well, I talk with my hands, so that's the problem. All right. All right, 5, right? Let's see. Oh, okay, here we go. Here are some examples of lies many of us believe are true. I must be perfect in everything I do. Everyone's life is better than mine. What others say about me must be true, and I'm a failure. Does anything positive come from these thoughts? Can you think of anything positive that would result from thoughts like this? No. These keep you stuck. You start getting out by replacing lies with the truth. So if these are things that you think, you've got to change that thinking. And we will get into that. Okay. All right, so look at the irrational thoughts listed below and figure out which truth replaces each thought. All set? Okay, I'm going to look at you because you answered. All right, so everyone's life is better than mine. Which one will replace that irrational thought? Mhm. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. B, yes. Your life truly is what you make it. I can't control my emotions. Yes? Yeah. I must be perfect in everything I do. Perfection is a hard, impossible thing to achieve. So, what's the truth? You say, I've got to do this. I've got to do this right. What's the truth? Yes, it's possible. I gave you a little hint. Okay. I'm a failure. You ever thought that to yourself? Uh-huh. I think everybody does. Okay, what is the truth? What's the truth? Thank you. And what others say about me must be true. Oh, come on, you can get it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. What others say about you does not determine who you are. Now, these truths, remember we talked about rationalization and whatever, but these are truths. They'll help you achieve the goals you have for your life. It's not easy. It's not easy to change behaviors. It's a tough thing to do, but it's well worth it in the end. Okay, let's look at some of these warning signs. Sometimes it really is hard when you feel like your emotions are controlling you, but you don't want to make a permanent choice on how you feel. So look at the warning signs, like being very depressed, expressing hopelessness, throwing or giving away important possessions. You know, that was a very, very, very common one. No longer interested in favorite things like music, sports, arts, drama. Loss of interest in school, declining grades, and withdrawing from friends and family. All of these things are signs, and these are behaviors that you can maybe identify with or identify someone who is exhibiting them. And these warning signs include severe depression, throwing or giving away, no interest, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, cutting. Cutting is actually more prevalent with girls, but it's something that we're supposed to look for. If you're working with kids, you look for that. A lot of times kids will wear, even in warm weather, they'll wear long sleeves. There are different signs. Struggling with eating disorders. I once had a student who would she would always bring her lunch, and I knew she had an eating disorder. She would bring her lunch, and I watched her. I was on lunch duty, one of my favorite little tasks. And she would take the food like this, hold her bag up, and she put the food in the bag. She didn't eat a morsel. And then at the end, she threw the bag away. So, and that's a real struggle, eating disorders, and using drugs or alcohol to numb your feelings. The truth is, though, there's hope for anyone in these situations, for everyone. With doing all of this withdrawing from school, friends, family, that makes things worse. You're more depressed. And it's like an avoidance. Alcohol and drugs, they make it more difficult because then it takes away all your rational thinking. You can't think clearly. You have to know that you're not alone. And we're going to talk about that, like how you can seek help. But there are people willing and ready to hear and to listen. And I can see here that this is such a good family atmosphere that I know you do have people that you can reach out to. And remember the dreams you have for your future. Because I'm sure, like some of you, everyone has dreams. Okay. Everyone, we all, no matter how old you are, you face feelings that bring you down. But you're here for a reason. Each of you is unique. You're not an accident. You're on this planet. And you deserve to find your purpose in life and pursue it. You're needed, and what I want you to do, and it's hard sometimes, but talk to an adult who can help. Be courageous. Call 911 with someone. To talk with someone. If you feel, if you feel that way, remember that's another lifeline. Okay, this is the part where I talked about you can be a hero. Friends don't leave friends alone. Reach out, tell them that you care. Help them call 911. Connect with an adult who can help. Now, you have people at school, you have support systems here, and you sometimes are the intervention. Don't handle it on your own or with help from friends. You have to find help with someone who can help you. And if your friend or someone you know won't make the call, then you make the call. And you be the hero. You have to help your friend get help. And sometimes they might be mad at you, get mad at you about it. But after a while, they'll thank you. All right, let's talk about what increases the risk of suicide. Individuals who have suffered abuse, like sex trafficking, which you've talked about, sexual abuse, and physical or emotional abuse are 2 to 3 times more likely to commit suicide. Those who send texts or nudes of themselves, 5 times more likely to commit suicide. So the risk, sexual, physical, or emotional abuse, 2 to 3 times. And look at this last one, sexting, 5 times the risk of suicide.
The kids in our school have a private Facebook page where we post nudes and videos of us having sex with each other. I was tagged and I didn't ask to join the group. I'm freaking out and I don't know what to do.
All right, this girl is a 7th grade girl. Again, that's what we're trying to show you, like things you can do. The type of pressure leads to stress, such stress and such anxiety, it could end up being deadly. And this is, as I said, this is the kind of thing that you can look out for and look out with yourself. She didn't want to take part. She didn't want to do that. But if she reported or left the site because she was afraid that she would be targeted or bullied. Bullying is also something that we're going to talk about. Another factor is the bullying. And today, with all of the sites, TikTok or Facebook or whatever, bullying becomes so much easier because they can do it anonymously. Teens bullied both online and at school, 11 times more likely to attempt suicide.
Did you know, when I was in middle school, a girl in my class bullied me all the time. I felt powerless against her. One day, she sexually assaulted me. The only reason she stopped is because someone walked in. I already felt like such a burden that I never told you or anyone.
Now remember that these are actual stories. And you have seen bullying. Hopefully none of you have been the object of bullying. But you talk about toxicity. That's something that's, as I said, with the online and the internet, it's really become rampant. He was 12 when the bullying began, 12 years old. He hoped if he ignored her, she'd eventually leave him alone. But you know, a lot of times that doesn't happen. He endured abuse from her for nearly a year. He felt weak and powerless, ashamed, and thought something might be wrong with him. Remember the thinking that we talked about at the very beginning? Negative thinking. One day, she tried to rape him, and fortunately, someone walked in. He never got help because the shame led him to believe he should just get over it. At 19 years old, he's still trying to figure out why he never defended himself and why he feels worthless. Bullies are predators, and you've heard that term a lot, who can cause people to suffer from anxiety, nightmares, the use of drugs or alcohol to numb the pain, self-harm, humiliation to the point teens avoid or change schools, and such deep despair that teens think suicide is the only way out, the only option. Bullying is cruel, and no one deserves it. And as teenagers, you should be, I'm sure you've all seen examples of bullying. And I'm not going to ask you this question, but think, what did you do, or what did you think? The crime of cyberbullying has become epidemic. You know, they talk about the COVID epidemic where it's everywhere. Well, cyberbullying is. And as I said, there's that anonymity. You know, they can just, text or something. They're not confronting people. 12.3 million teens have been harassed online. I think that's even a conservative figure. 1 in 10 girls are guilty of spreading ugly rumors. Wasn't there a movie for that? Mean Girls? 1 in 8 boys are guilty of posting threats. And 1 in 5 witnesses joined in the harassment. No one benefits, everybody loses, and the consequences can be devastating. Sadie Riggs was 15. They said she was fat. She starved herself and lost 23 pounds. They called her a whore, a redheaded she-devil, a bum, a lowlife. When they made fun of her hair, she cut it short and donated it to charity. She deprived herself of what she considered her best feature. The verbal abuse was relentless. Her aunt came home from work one evening and found her hanging from a tree. For the bullies involved, please know you were effective. This is what her aunt said. For the bullies involved, please know you were effective in making her feel worthless. We just ask that you be kind to one another. And that's a choice that you can make, to be kind and not be a bully. A kind word could have saved her life. If there were one person who stuck up for her, or, if you go somewhere and so many times in a cafeteria or something, you'll see somebody sitting alone. Chances are, yes. And why do you have people approached you when you were sitting by yourself at the table? No. Are you new to the school? No. Well, you know what? I think maybe if we learn about this and other people learn about this, they'll know that just somebody going over and saying, can you join us at the table? Or sitting there next to you, that turns your life around. Little things. They don't have to be grand gestures. Little things can make a big difference. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Be a kind voice, and in your own words, on your own worksheet, write what you say to stop the bullies that tell. What kind words could you come up with? Okay, what are some of the kind words? Think that you're in a situation and you see somebody who's being bullied, who's being ostracized. What's something you could say? What's a kind word? What are your kind words? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. That's wonderful. Can you imagine how that would make somebody feel? What else? No kind words, huh? I can wait. Yes. I'm sorry. Right, you're smart. Or can it be something like, I like that shirt you're wearing. I think your hair looks nice today. You did a good job on the test. All of those little things that maybe you're not thinking about are really helpful. Your voice can make all the difference, and here's where the heroic element comes in. You have it in your power to save a life. That's pretty powerful. Okay, let's take a moment, find out what you've learned with a knowledge check. On your worksheet, answer the questions on the following 3 slides. Okay, true or false? Oh, these are easy ones, true or false. They're not long answer or essay questions. Teens bullied both online and at school are 11 times more likely to attempt suicide. Oh, don't make me collect the papers and check your answers. What do you think? Good. Very good. The answer is true. Cyberbullying is wrong, but it isn't really a crime and it doesn't happen very often. True or false? Why don't you all say it? What do you think it is? Good. Teens can be arrested for cyberbullying. And 1.5 million teens, 1.5 million, are cyberbullied every year. Did you know that teens could be arrested for cyberbullying? Did you know that? And the last one, suicide is not a major cause of death for teens. True or false? Can you remember what number it is for causes? Good, very good, yep. Okay, we're going to talk about relationships now. Unhealthy relationships are really stressful. And breakups are becoming a very significant reason why young people consider suicide. They if they're, you've probably seen scenes where, people are crying or they're arguing or whatever. But sometimes these relationships are toxic.
Hey mom, did you know the relationship with my girlfriend is so toxic? I can't say or do anything to keep her happy. I'm so stressed that she's gonna break up with me. I started drinking and doing drugs to numb myself because I'm tired of feeling this way. I feel like a loser and I think about ending it all. Hey mom, you have the power to help me.
Did you hear that word? Loser? That was his irrational thinking. We all need love, and we all need to know that somebody cares about us. But how can somebody, a relationship that's supposed to be loving and supportive, turn into something toxic? This is supposed to be playing. It's not playing automatically. All right. here? Oh, there it is. It's not.
Aiden and Kaylee have been dating for the last 3 months. Things started off great. They had a lot in common and really enjoy each other's company. They spent countless hours Snapchatting and FaceTiming. After a while, Kaylee started to get irritated with Aiden when he wouldn't reply to her immediately. She became jealous and began to accuse him of cheating on her. When Aiden tried to assure her that he was not cheating, she replied, "Then you must not really love me. If you did, you'd respond faster." Kaylee got more aggressive and accusatory. She started to make him feel guilty for even having other girls that were friends. It got to the point that she was demanding he spend every available second with her. Aiden felt hopeless because he couldn't convince her that he really cared for her. During their relationship, they had sent each other texts. Aiden got uncomfortable with it after a while and told her he wanted to stop. It really started to stress him out because he was afraid she might end up sending his pictures to all of his friends. No matter how hard he tried, she was never happy. She would even say things like, "If you have to ask me what makes me happy, then you don't really know me or care about me." Kaylee ended up making Aiden feel worthless. He was desperate because he did love her and did not want to lose the relationship that he had with her. At the same time, he felt trapped. Finally, Aiden broke up with Kaylee. The breakup was brutal, and he ended up suffering from severe depression. He started using drugs and alcohol to numb his pain. His depression got worse, and thoughts of suicide took over his mind. After surviving an overdose, Aiden finally got help. It wasn't going to be easy, but he realized that he needed to take a break from dating and hang out with his friends again, who had his back. He needed space and time to get healthy again. Aiden and Kaylee have been dating for the last 3 months.
Why is this not going on? We know. We know the story. Let me get to. Okay. Look at the words of accusation that weighed him down. There's no denying that when you're in love, everything feels amazing. But sometimes in toxic relationships, that changes. That changes. And it doesn't feel so amazing anymore. In Aiden's case, love turned into manipulation. She had his nudes, and she placed ridiculous demands on him. He believed he was trapped and couldn't see a way out. Can you relate? Do you see how much power he ceded to her? Look at the words of accusation that weighed Aiden down and led him to become suicidal. We all need to learn to recognize when a relationship is turning toxic. So put yourself in Aiden's shoes and replace each accusation with words of truth. Select one truth to replace the accusation. You all set? Yes? Okay. Liar. You can all say it. Good. Worthless. Insensitive. cheater, entrapped. All of these words on the right, those are words that are bullying too. Oh, you're worthless. You're a jerk. You're a cheater. Your value is not determined by what someone else says about you. The truth is that you really are the author of your own story. And I think Miss Sharon started with that, with, let's write your story. Never forget that if you find yourself in a dark place, get help. There's always a way out. Okay, now you see a list of relationships. They impact every aspect of our lives. Take a moment, consider the different types of relationships you're in right now, and circle all that apply to you. Although you may associate the word relationship with romance, notice that the majority of them that you're currently engaged in, they're not romantic. We want to help you learn how to determine whether or not you're in a healthy relationship and how to develop healthy relationships. I'll bet some of you know people who are in a relationship that is not healthy. Okay, so think about what you think is important in a relationship. Write down 5 crucial characteristics to a supportive relationship. What should a supportive relationship look like? Okay, what are some of the things that you think determine a good relationship? Yes. I can't hear you up here. Yes, definitely loving. What else? Encouraging, very good. Caring, yes. What? Okay, over here? Very important, isn't it? Very important, yeah. Yes. All of those things are wonderful. I mean, that, if you, yes. Honesty, sure. Very good. You did that's very good. All of those things are really important. How about trust? All right, let's see how your list compares with what's written down here. Trust, actually trust was number 1 on here. unconditional love, time, respect, good communication, patience, common interests, and knowing someone is the most important. Everything else comes on the list comes from knowing a person. And you know where this is going. Healthy relationships. When considering how important relationships are, the key is understanding the difference between levels of intimacy and how to build a supportive friendship. So we're using this, let's learn how to build relationships by making a friendship cake. Okay, this is a good visual. A friendship cake has 5 layers that represent 5 layers of intimacy. The first layer is the lowest. So this is someone you really don't know, is a stranger to you. And this layer is where relationships begin or end. Because if you meet somebody and you're saying, no, I don't think I want to know this person or be with this person, then you'll stop there. The second layer is the low level of intimacy. This is someone you consider an acquaintance. You know them, you pass them in the hall. It could be a classmate, somebody you work with. You know who you are, but not enough to reveal feelings or opinions. The third layer is the moderate level of intimacy, a casual friend. You can hang out with this person because you know them better, share common interests like sports, music, hobbies, and you share your opinions. This is where you can learn whether you respect someone's differences or not. Here we go. Now, the fourth layer is the high level of intimacy. This is a close friend, somebody that you have that you know you can talk to, they'll talk to you, and it's not going to go any further. You help each other. Someone you'd say you know well. You share the same values, support each other's goals and dreams, and the friendship is based on mutual support, where you're committed to working out conflicts. The fifth layer, the highest level of intimacy, is the relationship that takes the most time to develop. This is the ultimate friend. This is where there's unconditional love, a lifelong commitment, or marriage. It's okay to be vulnerable with this person. And remember that first word was trust. There's a high level of trust. You can talk, and I'm sure you have friends like this. You can talk about your fears or your insecurities, and they'll listen, and they'll empathize, and they'll understand. But this requires time and personal investment. It doesn't happen overnight. Now let's reflect, if you remember, these relationships that you've seen throughout the course. Now that we've built our friendship cake, why do you think these relationships fell apart? Remember the girls who shared deep, vulnerable feelings with their fake boyfriends online? They were revealing highly intimate things with complete strangers who were only at level 1. And again, I think the anonymity sometimes opens up that first level if you're not aware of it. Remember the young man who went to the mall to meet his fake boyfriend. He sent his nudes to someone he'd never met. He was still at level 1. He didn't know this person at all. Each relationship cost them the most when things got sexually intimate. Sexual intimacy is like icing. It's not a layer of a cake, and you don't need icing to have a great cake. Did you notice none of the layers of the friendship cake include sexual intimacy? The best time to add the icing is after all the layers of the cake are built. And friendship is really a solid base too, or figuring of someone you would love, but you like. You also like. Safe and supportive relationships take time. They just don't materialize. I want you to think of someone in your life where you might need to evaluate your current level of relationship. Is it healthy? Have they earned the right to be at that level? Or have you become too intimate with someone you don't really know? What about those relationships you have online? Research shows online relationships become too intimate too fast. People don't really, they call them friends, but it's like a list. Oh, I have this many friends, I have that many friends. No. You have to build on that. Two-thirds of girls and half the boys who have had sex wish they had waited. It opens up a great deal of vulnerability. 87% of teens agree that teens should not have sex until at least out of high school.
May I say, biblically, we believe that that should not happen until after you're married. We stand on that.
Okay. If sex is added before you found the person you want to commit to and love for the rest of your life, there can be serious negative consequences. All right, what are these consequences? STIs, do you know what they are? STIs? Sexually transmitted diseases. Depression, suicidal thoughts. What happens when that relationship breaks up? When you've reached that level of intimacy. Sextortion, ruined reputation, unplanned pregnancy, and unplanned children. That's an important step and should not be taken lightly. And you don't have to settle for these results. Now there's a simple relationship test to recognize the signs of an unhealthy relationship. Are you in a relationship with someone who makes you feel guilty if you don't do or give them what they want? Doesn't respect what's important to you? Puts you down and says mean things to you? Gets jealous if you hang out with others? Well, I thought you were my friend. You can't be her friend. or his friend, asks you to do things you regret, begs for money or other possessions or favors, blames you for things they do, apologizes and says they'll change, but they don't. Remember, actions speak louder than words. I would always tell my kids, don't tell me, show me. None of these ingredients are healthy, ingredients for a healthy relationship. You need to end it or get help to work things out and rebuild trust. You'll need an adult to help you find out what led you to get into this unhealthy relationship, so you don't keep repeating the same pattern. Remember, many who say they will change don't. And you don't want to wind up stuck in an unhealthy relationship. Okay, so here are some suggestions, because you are really worth fighting for, and you should not let anyone else make you feel inferior. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. You don't have to settle for a relationship that makes you feel worthless or afraid. Here are some practical ways to get out of an unhealthy relationship. Sometimes you need support. Have support and bring a parent, a trusted friend, or another adult with you. These conversations are difficult, and you need someone to defend and support you. Because remember, we talked about that manipulation. People who are like that are masters at manipulation. So it's good that you would have somebody there with you. If possible, find a safe place so you can have a face-to-face, in person, or online. Even though it's hard, it's really better if you do it face-to-face. Next best option is to have a real conversation. Sending a text is not as effective. But if you do, use an adult's phone, not yours. Use a different phone. And don't get stuck in a back and forth loop. Remember, you have it in your mind. This is what a healthy relationship is. This is not healthy. And the thing is, you have to approach it well too. Like if you say, well, you're to blame, that doesn't get you anywhere, because that puts people on the defensive. You've got to learn to use a different pronoun. And this is the pronoun you use, I. Practice some of these I statements. They'll help you set and maintain healthy boundaries in your relationship. So instead of saying, you're not going to say you, you're going to say I. I don't deserve to be cheated on, rather than you cheated on me. I don't deserve to be talked down to. I'm not responsible for your happiness. And I should be able to have other close friends. So you are taking control of the situation, really just by changing a pronoun. You hear the difference? You're not blaming, but you're sticking to what's true about you. And everyone deserves a supportive relationship. After ending a toxic relationship, healthy boundaries will keep you protected. Now, sometimes, that'll happen. You say, oh, well, I'm breaking up with him, or I'm breaking up with her, or you're not my friend, and then they don't really take your decision. So what you have to do is you have to set the boundaries that you aren't going to talk, text, meet, or have contact. Because that's the lure. That's what'll pull you back. Stick to your boundaries and insist they honor them. Let them know what you will do if they don't honor your boundaries. You aren't making a threat. You're letting them know that your boundaries are important, and if they don't respect your boundaries, there will be a consequence, like maybe having to call law enforcement. So you make things very clear, and you don't get pulled into the dance. It's like a dance, they'll try to control you. Don't get pulled into that dance. Ten minutes, okay, I talk too much, right? Okay. Some relationships aren't simply unhealthy. You may be stuck in an abusive relationship and not know it. As I read each item, check any that sound familiar to you. Controls where you go, who you're with, or what you want. Verbally humiliates you, yells or screams at you, calls your names. Tries to force you or trick you to do things that you don't want to do, especially sexually, including sexting. Explodes in anger, violently breaks or throws things, threatens or physically hurts you in any way, including hitting or slapping. If any of these things sound familiar, you're in an abusive relationship, and it needs to end immediately. If you're in danger of being hurt where you are now, leave if possible and call 911. These are, again, behaviors that you can use. Contact an adult you trust, a parent, health provider, teacher, counselor, pastor, or priest. Don't confront the abuser yourself, especially if it's a parent or a family member. That can be dangerous. Your trusted adult may need to help you file a restraining order, which is, it keeps them away, the police. And this keeps the abuser from being around you or contacting you. Many abusers will not stop unless they're forced. If you've been physically harmed, get medical help. Get help today. You don't have to be stuck in an abusive relationship. Okay, now it's time for another knowledge check. Take out the worksheet, answer the questions on the slides. Which of the following actions is a sign of abusive relationship? Go ahead, just say it. What's the abusive relationship? Yep, verbal humiliation. Safe and supportive relationships usually happen quickly. False. Consider the following scenario. Jen gets jealous when Jill hangs out with her other friends. She lays a guilt trip on her and posts mean things about her online. How should Jill respond? Now you're putting yourself in a situation. What should she do? Yep. Oh, I said, it's hard for me to hear that. My ears are plugged too, but you said block them, right? Okay. That's a good one. Yes, it is. Yeah. Use the I statement. Yes. Right. We should, you know what? We could probably put that as two answers. Hey, how many of you would appreciate finding a $20 bill? Not everybody? I would. Would you still want it if it had been crumbled up, thrown away, and even had a gross smell and a gooey, sticky substance on it from the trash it was in? What would you do? Would you clean it off? Spend it quicker. Yeah, there you go. Spend it more quickly. But you know what? Even if it's gooey and messy and ugly, it still has the same value. Yes. You could do. I don't know how, but I'd probably spend it so fast I wouldn't have time to do it. But that's something I could learn if I didn't spend so fast. Some of you might feel like the crumpled up bill that's been abused and thrown away, and you believe that you're worthless and that no one really wants you or loves you, and you've been physically or sexually abused. Some of you have been bullied. Some of you have your hearts broken in relationships. But despite what you might feel and things you might have suffered, just like the $20 bill, your worth didn't change. You are truly priceless. Did you hear that? Priceless. No dollar amount determines your worth. Every person has the same value. Nothing changes your value. Not the bad or good choices you've made. Everybody does that, makes good or bad choices. Not the abuse you've made, suffered, and not the lies you were told. Your past does not define you or determine what you're worth. Your story matters and can change the world. So you be the author of your story and tell yourself these truths. You deserve love without conditions. You deserve to be protected from abuse and exploitation. Powerful, even though you're vulnerable, and free from lies about you. It's okay to be you. You're amazing, just the way you are.
Now I know I am able to protect myself and the people I love from abusive predators.
Now I know that I am free from the lies of shame that tell me I am worthless.
Now I know I am loved without any conditions, and I don't have to settle for toxic relationships.
Now I know I am powerful and my life has a purpose.
Now I know I am priceless.
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 Okay.